Hello everyone, hope you are doing good. From today Green Bappa is going to begin its journey of online learning. As you all know, Green Bappa is an Edtech, which imbibes the idea of conscious thinking into the minds of students. We would like to extend this program to everyone. I feel in today's fast-moving world, it's more important for everyone to be conscious, that is, one has to be more aware of, not just oneself, but about others too. Let us speak about one such influential person whose name is Greta Thunberg, who through her activism is working towards making people across the globe become more environmentally conscious. Greta Thunberg is a Swedish environmental activist who is internationally known for challenging world leaders to take immediate action for climate change mitigation. Thunberg initially gained notice for her youth and her straightforward speaking manner, both in public and to political leaders and assemblies, in which she criticizes world leaders for their failure to take what she considers sufficient action to address the climate crisis. Thunberg's activism began by persuading her parents to adopt lifestyle choices that reduced their own carbon footprint. In August 2018, at age 15, she started spending her school days outside the Swedish parliament to call for stronger action on climate change by holding up a sign reading "School Strike for Climate." Soon other students engaged in similar protests in their own communities. Together they organized a school climate strike movement under the name Fridays for Future. After Thunberg addressed the 2018 United Nations Climate Change Conference, student strikes took place every week somewhere in the world. In 2019, there were multiple coordinated multi-city protests involving over 1 million students each. To avoid energy-intensive flying, Thunberg sailed to North America, where she attended the 2019 UN Climate Action Summit. Her speech there, in which she exclaimed "How dare you?" was widely taken up by the press and incorporated into music. Her sudden rise to world fame has made her both a leader and a target for critics, especially due to her age. Her influence on the world stage has been described by The Guardian and other newspapers as the Greta effect. She received numerous honors and awards, including an honorary fellowship of the Royal Scottish Geographical Society, inclusion in Time's 100 Most Influential People, being the youngest Time Person of the Year, inclusion in the Forbes list of the world's 100 most powerful women, 2019, and 3 consecutive nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize, 2019-2021. So everyone, let us now get to know more about Greta Thunberg's childhood. Greta Thunberg was born on 3 January 2003 in Stockholm, Sweden, the daughter of opera singer Malina Ernman and actor Svante Thunberg. Her paternal grandfather was actor and director Olof Thunberg. Thunberg says she first heard about climate change in 2011 when she was 8 years old and could not understand why so little was being done about it. The situation made her depressed, and as a result, at the age of 11, she stopped talking and eating and lost 10 kilograms in 2 months. Eventually, she was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, and selective mutism. In one of her first speeches demanding climate action, Thunberg described the selective mutism aspect of her condition as meaning she only speaks when necessary. Thunberg struggled with depression for 3 or 4 years before she began her school strike. When she started protesting, her parents did not support her activism. Her father said he doesn't like her missing school but said, "We respect that she wants to make a stand. She can either sit at home and be really unhappy or protest and be happy." Her diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome was made public nationwide in Sweden by her mother in May 2015 in order to help other families in a similar situation. While acknowledging that her diagnosis has limited me before, Thunberg does not view her Asperger's as an illness and has instead called it her superpower. For about 2 years, Thunberg challenged her parents to lower the family's carbon footprint and overall impact on the environment by becoming vegan, upcycling, and giving up flying. She has said she tried showing them graphs and data, but when that did not work, she warned her family that they were stealing her future. Giving up flying in part meant her mother had to give up her international career as an opera singer. When interviewed in December 2019 by the BBC, her father said, "To be honest, her mother didn't do it to save the climate. She did it to save her child because she saw how much it meant to her, and then, when she did that, she saw how much Greta grew from that, how much energy she got from it." Thunberg credits her parents' eventual response and lifestyle changes with giving her hope and belief that she could make a difference. The family story is recounted in the 2018 book Scenes from the Heart. Thunberg was a pupil at Franska Skolan, a private school in central Stockholm, from 2010 to 2018, after which she transferred to Kringlaskolan, a school in Södertälje. In 2019 it was announced that she had completed the 9th grade, which is the completion of the lower secondary education, with excellent grades, garnering 14 A grades and 3 B grades. According to an article in Bloomberg magazine, these B grades are reportedly in Swedish, home economics and physical education. Let us now talk about Greta Thunberg's activism. In August 2018, Thunberg began the school climate strikes and public speeches for which she has become an internationally recognized climate activist. In an interview with Amy Goodman from Democracy Now!, she said she first got the idea of a climate strike after school shootings in the United States in February 2018 led to several youths refusing to go back to school. These teen activists at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, went on to organize the March for Our Lives in support of greater gun control. In May 2018, Thunberg won a climate change essay competition held by Swedish newspaper Svenska Dagbladet. In part, she wrote, "I want to feel safe. How can I feel safe when I know we are in the greatest crisis in human history?" After the paper published her article, she was contacted by Bo Thorin from Fossil Free Dalsland, a group interested in doing something about climate change. Thunberg attended a few of their meetings. At one of them, Thorin suggested that school children could strike for climate change. Thunberg tried to persuade other young people to get involved, but no one was really interested, so eventually she decided to go ahead with the strike by herself. On 20 August 2018, Thunberg, who had just started 9th grade, decided not to attend school until the 2018 Swedish general election on 9 September. Her protest began after the heat waves and wildfires during Sweden's hottest summer in at least 262 years. Her demands were that the Swedish government reduce carbon emissions in accordance with the Paris Agreement, and she protested by sitting outside the Riksdag every day for 3 weeks during school hours with the sign, "School Strike for Climate." Thunberg said her teachers were divided in their views about her missing class to make her point. She says, "As people, they think what I am doing is good, but as teachers, they say I should stop." Now let us put some light on Greta Thunberg's social media activism. Thunberg posted a photo of her first strike day on Instagram and Twitter, with other social media accounts quickly taking up her cause. High-profile youth activists amplified her Instagram post, and on the second day she was joined by other activists. A representative of the Finnish bank Nordea quoted one of Thunberg's tweets to more than 200,000 followers. Thunberg's social media profile attracted local reporters whose stories earned international coverage in little more than a week. One Swedish climate-focused social media company was We Don't Have Time, WDHT, founded by Ingmar Rentzhog. He said her strike only began attracting public attention after he turned up with a freelance photographer and posted Thunberg's photograph on his Facebook page and Instagram account, and a video in English that he posted on the company's YouTube channel. Renshaug subsequently asked Thunberg to become an unpaid youth advisor to WDHT. He then used her name and image without her knowledge or permission to raise millions for a WDHT for-profit subsidiary, We Don't Have Time app, of which Renshaug is the chief executive officer. Thunberg received no money from the company and terminated her volunteer advisor role with WDHT once she realized they were making money from her name. After October 2018, Thunberg's activism evolved from solitary protesting to taking part in demonstrations throughout Europe, making several high-profile public speeches, and mobilizing her growing number of followers on social media platforms. After the December 2018 general elections, Thunberg continued to strike only on Fridays. She inspired school students across the globe to take part in student strikes. That month, more than 20,000 students had held strikes in at least 270 cities. Thunberg spoke out against a national eligibility entrance test for undergraduates 2020 and joint entrance examination 2020 entrance exams, which were being conducted in India in September. She said that it is unfair for students to appear for exams in the middle of a global pandemic. She also said that the students of India have been deeply impacted by the floods that hit states such as Bihar and Assam, which cause mass destruction for the citizens. On 3 February 2021, Thunberg tweeted in support of the ongoing 2020-2021 Indian farmers' protest. Effigies of Thunberg were burned in Delhi by nationalists who were against the farmer protests. Activists were also critical about international interference in India's internal matters. Greta Thunberg's tweet received criticism from the Indian government, which said that it was an internal matter. In her initial tweet, Thunberg linked to a document which provided a campaigning toolkit for those who wanted to support the farmers' protest. This toolkit contained advice on hashtags and how to sign petitions, but also included suggested actions beyond those directly linked to the farmers' protest. She soon deleted the tweet, saying the document was outdated, and linked to an alternative one to enable anyone unfamiliar with the ongoing farmers' protests in India to better understand the situation and make decisions on how to support the farmers based on their own analysis. The 22-year-old Indian climate activist who edited the toolkit, Disha Ravi, was arrested under the charges of sedition and criminal conspiracy on 16 February. Now let us get Greta Thunberg's position on climate change. Thunberg believes that humanity is facing an existential crisis because of global warming and collectively holds her generation's former adults and current elders responsible for creating the problem. She uses graphic analogies, such as "our house is on fire," to highlight her concerns and often speaks bluntly to business and political leaders about their failure to take concerted action. Thunberg has said that climate change will have a disproportionate effect on young people whose futures will be profoundly affected. She argues that her generation may not have a future anymore because that future was sold so that a small number of people could make unimaginable amounts of money. She also has said that people in the global south will suffer most from climate change, even though they have contributed least in terms of carbon dioxide emissions. Thunberg has voiced support for other young activists from developing countries who are already facing the damaging effects of climate change. Speaking in Madrid in December 2019, she said, "We talk about our future, they talk about their present." Speaking at international forums, she berates world leaders that too little action is being taken to reduce global emissions. She says that lowering emissions is not enough and says emissions need to be reduced to zero if the world is to keep global warming to less than 1.5 degrees centigrade. Speaking to the British Parliament in April 2019, she said, The fact that we are speaking of lowering instead of stopping emissions is perhaps the greatest force behind the continuing business as usual. In order to take the necessary action, she added that politicians should not listen to her, they should listen to what the scientists are saying about how to address the crisis. More specifically, Thunberg has argued that commitments made at the Paris Agreement are insufficient to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees, and that the greenhouse gas emissions curve needs to start declining steeply no later than 2020, as detailed in the IPCC's 2018 special report on global warming of 1.5 degrees centigrade. In February 2019, at a conference of the European Economic and Social Committee, she said that the EU's current intention to cut emissions by 40% by 2030 is not sufficient to protect the future for children growing up today, and that the EU must reduce their CO2 emissions by 80%, double the 40% goal. Thunberg reiterated her views on political inaction in a November 2020 interview, where she stated leaders are happy to set targets for decades ahead, but flinch when immediate action is needed. So let us get into Greta Thunberg's impact around the globe. In February 2019, 224 academics signed an open letter of support stating they were inspired by Thunberg's actions and the striking schoolchildren in making their voices heard. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres endorsed the school strikes initiated by Thunberg, admitting that my generation has failed to respond properly to the dramatic challenge of climate change. This is deeply felt by young people. No wonder they are angry. Speaking at an event in New Zealand in May 2019, Guterres said his generation was not winning the battle against climate change, and that it was up to the youth to rescue the planet. Thunberg has inspired a number of her school-aged peers in what has been described as the Greta effect. In response to her outspoken stance, various politicians have also acknowledged the need to focus on climate change. Britain's Secretary for the Environment, Michael Gove, said, "When I listened to you, I felt great admiration, but also responsibility and guilt. I am of your parents' generation, and I recognize that we haven't done nearly enough to address climate change and the broader environmental crisis that we helped to create." Labour politician Ed Miliband, who was responsible for introducing the Climate Change Act 2008, said, "You have woken us up. Thank you. All the young people who have gone on strike have held up a mirror to our society. You have taught us all a really important lesson. You have stood out from the crowd." In February 2019, Thunberg shared a stage with the then president of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, where he outlined in the next financial period from 2021 to 2027, every fourth euro spent within the EU budget will go towards action to mitigate climate change. Climate issues also played a significant role in European Parliament election in May 2019 as Green parties recorded their best ever result, boosting their MEP seat numbers from 52 to 72. Many of the gains came from northern European countries, where young people have taken to the streets inspired by Thunberg. In June 2019, a YouGov poll in Britain found that public concern about the environment had soared to record levels in the UK since Thunberg and Extinction Rebellion had pierced the bubble of denial. In August 2019, publication and sales of children's books about the climate crisis reportedly doubled compared to the previous year. Publishers attribute this to the Greta effect. Inspired by Thunberg, wealthy philanthropists and investors from the United States have donated about $600,000 to support Extinction Rebellion and school strike groups to establish the Climate Emergency Fund. Trevor Nielsen, one of the philanthropists, said the three founders would be contacting friends among the global mega-rich to donate 100 times more in the weeks and months ahead. In December 2019, The New Scientist described the impact made by Thunberg and Extinction Rebellion with the headline, "The Year the World Woke Up to Climate Change." According to a 2021 study, those who are more familiar with Greta Thunberg have higher intentions of taking collective actions to reduce global warming, and that stronger collective efficacy beliefs mediate this relationship. This association between familiarity with Greta Thunberg, collective efficacy beliefs, and collective action intentions is present, even after accounting for respondents' overall support for climate activism. So Green Bappa hopes that just like our today's influential personality Greta Thunberg, who at such an early age has created ripples across the globe, we can also succeed in lighting a flame within ourselves and bring a change which we want to see in this world. Before we end this video, Green Bappa would like to share details about a new crypto coin Pi which is going to get introduced anytime soon. If you want to start mining the new Pi crypto coin, Green Bappa is going to share the founder's invite code in the description box of this video, which you need to use after you download the Pi Network app, which is required to mine Pi coins. The username code is MMKUINDEIA, which will be asked after you download the Pi app. The code is necessary to form a trust chain of Pi networks. All you have to do is go to Play Store and download the Pi Network application and hit a small button. Every 24 hours you need to hit this button in order to mine. Just like any other cryptocurrencies, example Bitcoins, Ethereum, WazirX, Shiba Inu coins, Pi is one such crypto coin. Pi is a new digital currency. Pi Network app allows you to access and grow your Pi holdings and serves as wallet to host your digital assets. Pi is fairly distributed, eco-friendly and consumes minimal battery power. The good thing about Pi Network is for now you can mine digital Pi currencies for free using your mobile phones. Not just that it is a trusted futuristic digital currency, as it's being developed by a group of Stanford PhDs. For a limited time, you can join the beta to earn Pi and help grow the network. Pi Network. So everyone, thank you for your time. We will be back soon with more such learning videos. See you all soon.
Please subscribe to our channel Green Bappa for more videos. We will be back soon with more conscious learning videos. Also, let us know in the comments section if you have ideas to improve our videos or want us to cover any topic in particular.